Something that you and I all know is that Americans are polarized today. We know it anecdotally, the data supports it. And as we move forward together as a nation, each of us is confronted with this question, how are we going to live with each other? What people we disagree with say, does that bother us? With people we perceive as having no understanding of who we are and what is important to us, how are we going to live with these people? As an educator, I've decided that I'm going to assume best intent when confronted with things that I deem either casual ignorance or just something that may bother me that's an ist, something that people may perceive as offensive, racist, sexist, other ists, and I'm going to try and start to have a conversation with those people. And so as I started putting together something to present to staff, that was kind of my goal, is how do I get people to have a conversation? The definition, or the way that I like to talk about, hey, are we celebrating diversities, is business casual. And this is something that Tapia talks a little bit about in that book. When we talk about business casual, what is business casual internationally? Is this business casual? I mean, in America, when we talk about business casual, this is what we talk about. If you're wondering where I got this graphic from, I actually Googled business casual and hit images, and this was one of the top hits. And I thought it was pretty interesting, but it's a very Western framed concept, business casual. The culture that I'm from, or that I originated from, or Asian cultures, may not consider this business casual, or maybe they do now because of Western influence. Again, the question is are we seeking to celebrate our differences, or are we seeking to ignore our differences? And where is that line? Is that something that's healthy for organizations? I will frequently do this as a parent share activity. I'll give people the opportunity to kind of think about it, write it down on a piece of paper, and then form their own groups, either a group of 2 or more. I don't really care if people are in small groups or in large groups, and then give them the opportunity to talk to each other about it. Hey, somebody said this about me and it bothered me, or hey, I heard this and it bothered me. Has anyone else heard this? And the deficit perspective is that different communities place a different value on education, support systems, or community norms. And that results in varied performance or participation in schools, activities, or the community at large. The commonality is that there's an expected negative consequence of the resulting behaviors. So I'm going to assume something about a group, and because I have an assumption about them, I'm going to go to my bank of stereotypes, things that I've been trained to say, okay, this person, when they look like this and sound like this, is that. And because they are that, they must also also value education this way. They have this kind of support system that conflicts with mine. They have a community norm that I disagree with. And obviously, because of that, they're not going to be engaged in the things that I want them to be engaged in. And that's going to be negative for me. That's going to be negative for society. And that's going to be negative for everyone involved. The reason that this is important to define and think about is that it results in systems and expectations that are based on these assumptions.